Good afternoon to you. You were talking about it before about Nottingham Forest, and Chris has sort of worked his magic there with his organisation skills. They've become very difficult to beat, very difficult to score against. They don't necessarily score many themselves. So does that make tomorrow's game about those fine margins, about being clinical when the opportunity crops up?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of games are down to the fine margins, but this one, especially because the difference between the teams are very little. You know, it's not like no disrespect, but City and then more or less everyone below them. But especially if you go outside top six, then City are just superior. So that's the way it is. The rest of us, we are very even, so that's one thing. Secondly, I agree with you, Chris Hughton is well known for put a top organisation out there, and that's the same we see now. And as you just said, Phil, and as I just mentioned, only conceding 11 goals in 18 games and very few chances just speak its own language. That is going to be a tough one. So when we are in the decisive areas, it's about the good cross, the good decision, the good pass, and of course, hopefully you got the right finish that you go in the back of the net. So, but we're ready for it.
And going into a game like this, the other teams around, in particular Watford and Swansea, play later. Of course, it depends on the result, but it's an opportunity to put pressure on those two teams who've both got games that are difficult. You know, Birmingham off the back of a win. A South Wales derby is never going to be easy. It's very difficult to call. So it's an opportunity with the early kickoff to just put a little bit of pressure on those other teams before they take to the pitch.
Yeah, definitely. But I think no matter what, we need to put a good performance out there. No matter what, we need to do everything we can to win the game. And then, of course, it's a tiny bit nicer than leading back after 3 points and to look at the other results. But you know, we can't think too much about that. We're talking about that, keeping the noise away from all of us. So focus on ourselves, what we can affect. I think that's the key message, to keep reinforcing that.
And you've said that this game, then the international break, and then it's a sprint for the finish. If you know the season is a marathon, it's a slog. It is that sprint. How much will you be hoping that obviously the international players that do go away don't get overused necessarily, but also come back fully fit, because everyone's going to be required, aren't they? And especially the ones that don't get the chance for a rest.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is what it is with the international break. We, and I'm particularly very proud of all the players that are getting called up to play for their countries. I think it's a big thing. Of course, this season is more cramped than ever. So actually, this round could have been pushed to the fall, definitely, and instead of playing the Nation League that nobody wants. But the qualifiers I completely understand, and it's a big part of it. And I think it's the international football, or the national teams are very important for the football. But the players coming back, I think it's most of them hopefully are coming back with new energy. No one's been allowed to travel anywhere in the world, so maybe just to see something different in a different country, maybe we'll energize them. And then it's just to cross our fingers that all of them are coming back in one piece.
You mentioned Ollie, obviously, and the example he's followed. Ethan is a great example too, because he was, you know, on the books at Millwall as a youngster. It didn't work for him in the professional game. Dropped into the non-league game. Did his studying at the same time, and we now look at him. You know, he's challenging to be in the Premier League with Brentford, getting an international call up. You know, that's a great example. He's a great footballing story.
Fantastic story. And Ethan's mentality is remarkable. You know, I think if you go down that route, I think I don't know, you know, I know the story, but I wasn't around him, so it's difficult to 100% tell the story. But just looking at him now, knowing him better now, and understanding how he is as a person, you can just see, compared to a lot of players coming through the academy who haven't tried anything but success. Okay, they do well with the under 9s, then they you know, get promoted to under 10 and under 15 and so on, so on, so on. So more or less never have a setback. Ethan's been out in the real life, got a lot of setbacks, you know, and then just built his way through. So he came here, he started actually to play. In the beginning we would play with 3, then we started to go with play with a back 4. I put him on the bench and he was there, you know, no complaints, trained like a beast every single day, top mentality, and then when he got the chance, boom, ready, and he never looked back from there. So it's a special mentality. I also know he's 26, you know, a little bit more life experience compared to be 18-year-old kid coming from the academy. So I think it goes a little bit hand in hand, but I just see with those coming through the lower ranks, they just have a different mindset and approach.
And just in regards to Ollie, a double-edged question then here. Firstly, about Ollie, you actually talk about the club and your squad as being hungry but humble, which always struck me as that's something that summed up Ollie Watkins. That's what I felt from the outside. So, A, do you agree with that assessment? That's part of his reason for his success, but also, does his success mean that other people can look at Brentford and go, Brentford's a way of getting through to you know, getting the highest honour in the land, which he's been called up for the country?
So as last question, please ask me that again.
Yeah, so you know, it's an example that Brentford is a great place to come if your ambition is to play for England or any other international country, but Brentford, from a recruitment point of view, is a great place to actually come and develop your football.
I hope you're right. I would love to tell that story. First, I agree. I think Ollie is a prime example of what you just said when I say to the players and the team that we need to show that top attitude, confident but humble. That they believe in themselves, but they know they're humble for every task that are thrown towards them, and then handle it. And he's just taking steps and steps in the right direction. I really hope that the model and the strategy we have here in Brentford, a lot of players can see that we walk the talk, we are. And the speech and try to convince them is actually in you know 9 out of 10 cases is how it should be, because we are very interested in the people, in the person, very interested in developing him to be a good player, and we have a very good experience in it now and a good model in place. So I think that we are top step for a lot of players.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you for your time. Best of luck tomorrow. And I hope you can get a little bit of time off in the international break yourself, just for a bit of a, because you need it, don't you?
Thank you, Phil. I need it a lot, and I'm looking forward to it. We just need to get over the line tomorrow, and then I will breathe in, and then we're ready to sprint.